Hey, what's up, Narwhals? This is Mr. Cantwell, and today we are going to talk about theme. So your goals for this lesson are to be able to answer these three questions. What is theme? What are some themes in commonly known stories? And how can a reader identify theme? If you want to get crazy, we also have this bonus tough question. What are the differences between thematic concepts and thematic messages? And I have some great news. I think that theme might be one of those things that you guys pretty much know, but you might not know the official literature English class name for. And I'm going to show you that right now by bringing up Pinocchio and Toy Story and Lion King. So I want you guys to think about these stories. Would you agree that Pinocchio is a story about honesty? Would you agree that Toy Story is a story about community? How about The Lion King? Is that a story about family? You probably said yeah. I think once you think about it for a second, it's pretty obvious that these stories are about those three ideas. And you probably guessed, honesty is a theme in Pinocchio, community is a theme in Toy Story, and family is a theme in The Lion King. So we just took a look at some movies and we pulled out the themes. Now let's take a look at some themes and think of some movies or stories. Can you think of some stories or movies that relate to these themes? So I'm looking at, I see good and evil. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Star Wars. Star Wars is all about the light side and the dark side. That seems like it's probably a theme in Star Wars. And heroism. So many superhero movies are coming out, and they all are about heroism in its different forms. So these are really common themes in literature, and we just covered some from Disney movies. Now let me give you the definition of theme. So theme is an idea that an author explores throughout a story. Theme is an idea that an author explores throughout a story. A couple more qualifications, a couple more ideas when we're thinking about theme. First is that theme must show up through multiple different events throughout the story. It has to show up a bunch of different times. It might show up in different ways, but it needs to show up multiple times throughout the story to contribute to the theme of the story. Another important thing is inferencing is required to identify the theme. The author is not going to straight up tell you. They expect you to figure it out. They leave the clues, they want you to think about it, and they want you to figure it out. And another little caveat, longer stories usually have multiple themes. That's very common. So one more time, theme is an idea that an author explores throughout a story. And Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is a story that many of us really like, whether we watch the movies or read the books. A theme in Harry Potter, one of the biggest themes in Harry Potter, is friendship. And I'm going to go through this without spoiling it, just in case you have not read it or seen it. So think about how the beginning of Harry Potter was about a character having a lack of friends on Privet Drive. And then making friends at Hogwarts. And then drawing strength and support from your friends to overcome cat challenges and defeat the villain. And then finally, at the very end of the story, friendship giving hope for the future. So we can see that the author, J.K. Rowling, weaved in all of these different ideas that relate to friends and friendship throughout the story, making it a theme. It shows up a bunch of times. It's an idea the author wants us to think about. So this is a theme throughout Harry Potter. And another story that many of us are familiar with is the novel Hoot. If you've read Hoot, think about how many situations relate to these themes in Hoot. Family, Roy's family, Mullet Fingers and the Leaps. Friendship, the friendship between the kids. Ingenuity, which means inventing new ideas to solve problems. Well, there were a whole bunch of problems that got solved creatively in Hoot. Deception, everyone is deceiving and lying to each other in Hoot. Think about fake names, think about Mullet Fingers. There's a whole bunch of deception. Chuck Muckle at the end. And then the biggest one, environmentalism, the belief that humans should protect the environment. If you read Hoot, as I went through these, you probably went, oh yeah, that is in Hoot. And what you're doing is you're thinking about the different events and you're connecting them to the themes. So we've talked about some themes that you guys know from commonly known stories. We have identified theme. Now let's talk about how we can figure out themes on our own. This is something that you are going to get better at throughout your journey as readers. The more you do it, the easier it'll be. The first thing you absolutely need to do in order to figure this out on your own or with a little bit of teacher help is to really focus while you're reading. Really pay attention and be serious while you are enjoying the story. If you don't understand the details of the interactions and the reasons characters are doing things, if you're not really paying attention, it's going to be hard to identify the theme. You might struggle a little bit. So first step is really intently focus on reading the story. So then, after you've read the story, you want to think hard about it and you want to analyze all the events and character interactions. So some questions you could ask yourself are, were there different plot events repeatedly about the same idea? Another one is, were different conflicts caused by the same problem? Another one is, were character interactions repeatedly about the same topic? Were they always talking or arguing or dreaming about the same topic? And finally, I'm going to explain this one a little bit, but do character backgrounds have related but different characteristics? And what I mean by that is, let's say an author wrote a character in named Joe who loves taking risks. The author also writes a character in named Bob who hates taking risks. Well, the author is probably writing a story about the theme risk-taking, and he wants you to figure that out. He wants you to infer it. So you have to think at characteristics also. So to identify theme, you really want to focus on the plots, the conflicts, and the characteristics of characters. Let's apply this to Lion King. So we have a plot event that shows family, the birth of Simba. Could this be described as relating to family? Yes, for sure. Next, we have a conflict that relates to family. Scar betrays his brother. Another plot event that relates to family. Simba leaves. He goes and hangs out with Timon and Pumbaa for a couple years. You might even describe them as his new family, his temporary family. Another plot event about family. Simba and Nala fall in love. Now we finally get to one about characteristics. Simba faces off against Scar. Simba being very honorable, Scar being very dishonorable. What is the author trying to tell us there? And finally, one more conflict. Simba and Nala become king and queen of the kingdom. So through the plot events, the conflicts, and the characteristics, we know that this story must be about family. And one more time, how do we identify theme? First step, you want to read or watch most or all of the story, and you want to be serious and intentional about paying attention to the details. Then you want to think really hard and you want to analyze different parts of the story. You want to pay attention to plot events, conflicts, and characteristics, plus character interactions because of their characteristics. Were there any topics that frequently manifested throughout the story? Was there stuff that kept coming up over and over and over again in all these different plot events and conflicts and characters? If so, you have identified a theme. Congratulations. And now I have a bonus extension idea. You are not responsible for knowing this in 6th grade. This is something that will become more important in upper middle school or in high school. I want to break down the difference between thematic topics and thematic messages really quickly because I don't want your future English teachers to get mad at me. This is one of those things in English where they don't have always a consistent definition. One English professor says that theme is this, another English professor says that theme is this, and there's kind of disagreements in textbooks and professors and teachers and all that. So I'm going to cover all the bases. I just want to quickly say, as a bonus for this video, a thematic concept is what we have been talking about. It's a word or short phrase that is just a single idea or topic without any author opinion or message attached to it. That is a thematic concept or topic. You will have English teachers in the future who also want to tell you about thematic messages, and that is just taking it one step further. It's adding a belief or opinion about a thematic topic that you are supposed to figure out because of the plot and characters and conflicts in the story. For example, a thematic topic might be love, and throughout different stories, authors might want to have you figure out that they believe that love can make you stronger. A different story might think that love can ruin your life. Another story might show you events that lead you to the conclusion that love is worth more than money. Another story might say that love means different things to different people. So obviously, there are lots of different thematic messages all about this one thematic idea or thematic concept. What you guys got to know is theme. Theme in general. Theme in general is an idea that an author explores throughout a story. It needs to come up a bunch of different times, multiple events throughout the story. You, as the reader, have to infer what the author wanted you to figure out because of these characters and because of these events. And stories can have multiple themes. Now, I want you guys to, for real, close your eyes and ask yourselves these questions. What is theme? What are themes in commonly known stories? And finally, how can a reader identify theme? If you want to do the bonus one, you can. It's on the screen. If you could not answer those questions, you got to go back and rewatch this video. If you could, then you are ready to move on to start identifying theme.